What's up, everybody? Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin Jon.
Miller.
And we have an album review for you. So another one that was definitely on my radar for the week of the 19th of August was the newest offering from Conan, Evidence of Immortality. This comes out on Napalm Records. This band formed in 2006 in Liverpool. This is their fifth album overall. I've been a fan since their debut, Monos. And this is just pure stoner doom droney fucking filth. It is just a flat out disgusting sounding band in terms of like the overall tone and vibe. Their last album, Existential Void Guardian, definitely saw them branching out a little bit into more like up-tempo and more melodic territory. And this one, well, that sees them kind of going back to their older sound, which was, again, pure, filthy, droning malevolence, I would call it.
But there's not a overabundance of it. They do a great job of intermixing stuff, which we'll dive into here. So they really have taken those ideas from those last albums and intertwined it with some new stuff, and that droniness is coming back, and it's killer. Their transitions are flawless, especially right in the opening track. A cleaved head no longer plots.
I fucking love that fucking song title. And they're right. It can't plot.
But they slide right into that groove right off the bat, and it's fantastic.
Instant, grimy, gritty, nasty
goodness.
Fucking slimy goodness. Instantly.
The guitar tone oozes out of the speakers. I feel like I needed to fucking spray down my fucking speaker with Windex after this. It's such a filthy, thick, disgusting tone. Like, it has all the warmth you expect from stoner metal. Like, it's definitely that fuzziness, but there is just this crunch of filth, like stepping on wet, rotted bones or something like that. It's
wet, rotted bones.
I know. There's a very visual thing to this sound. And you couple that with the dense, murky fucking bass underneath it.
And we're saying all this stuff, but it's not like the sound is great.
It is.
You hear everything. There's a lot of that feeling to it, but everything is pretty clear. And the guitars, while I do wish they were a little bit brighter, but it's great.
This is doom. There is no brightness.
Right. Only darkness.
I mean, honestly, with these descriptors, I think doom fans are pretty much like, no, tell me more. This sounds great. But to anyone else on the outside, get ready to just be sort of just beaten over the head with this sound. Like, it's just massive sound.
Beaten over the head with a mucusy riff.
Yeah, it's gross. You probably need to sanitize, just clean up a little bit.
And while we talk about dry humping, gross, nasty riffs in a doom setting, they do pick up the pace a little bit. The opening of Levitation Hoax, there are blast beats and giant drum fills. And let me say, this drummer is playing his balls off. While he keeps everything heavy, he can change the mode of these riffs with just some simple cymbal accents, and it really works.
Johnny King's a man. That Irish boy can play, for sure.
Dude, it is pretty remarkable, and considering most of the time you think of stoner doom and drone and stuff like that, no one really talks about the drummer. But honestly, this dude is doing what he can between these big breakdowns and sludgy slow riffs to just accent it properly, pepper in a cool fill. Fucking awesome.
And what Jammin Jon was talking about, Levitation, the beginning of that song, he makes that sound like fucking fireworks. And it's like fireworks made of cannonballs and death. It's really good accents that he's filling in, and it's good stuff.
So Detroit fireworks, if we're being very clear on that.
But on the Canada side, you're a little bit safer.
A little bit.
Yeah. In the end of Levitation, they remind you that they're a doom band. The next song comes on, Ritual of Anonymity, and it's really up tempo, and it's kind of got a really cool vibe to it. I dig it, and it speaks right up my alleyway. Even though I do love doom stuff, I do like more up tempo stuff, and they do a fantastic job with this song.
And that's a relatively new wrinkle for them, is bringing in more up-tempo stuff, because I have all this band's albums, and up until Existential Void Guardian, there really was not a lot of fast up-tempo material. This hung on to a slow, sludgy, droning pace. But hearing some D beats and some blast beats, it kind of breaks up the whole vibe of the album, because I love slow, sludgy, doomy stuff, but when it drones on for too long, sometimes you can get lost in it. This breaks it up. You get some punky D beats, a little bit of that high on fire type energy there.
Yeah, especially in this one, Ritual is just catchy as hell.
It's a ripper. It's a fucking like overall like pretty fast up tempo song. Like even the main sort of bouncy riff that kind of pivots between the D beats, it's got like a different kind of energy to it.
And then Equilibrium of Mankind comes in, and then they remind you that's like Doom. That song is killer from start to end, and it reminds you that they are a Doom band.
Reminds me of when I was first starting to get into heavy metal music, and my buddies played guitar. Miller played guitar, still does. But yeah, it reminds me of picking up my buddy's guitar and trying to make it have the heaviest, grossest sounding chug possible. That was since I can't play guitar, that was just the point of boom, yeah. And that's the beginning of this song.
Oh my god.
Nasty.
Yep.
Bleh.
And honestly, it's one of the coolest things to do on a guitar. As a guitarist, you can play for as many years as you want, but railing that open is just one of the coolest fucking things. With the big Marshall behind you, or a Mesa, or whatever your amp of choice. For me, I'd go with an orange staff.
I was gonna say.
But yeah, it's the greatest feel in the world. Marty McFly, motherfuckers.
Honestly, the 1-2 punch of Righteous Alliance and Equilibrium of Mankind, my god, these are two of the doomiest tracks, and they do it like so fucking well. When it comes down to like the chorus on Ritual Alliance, like that is the single doomiest progression of fucking notes I think that are on this album.
Yeah, it's very hooky too.
It is,
and that's weird because normally Doom isn't hooky, but there
you
are
don't associate
hooky,
that.
catchy riffs.
Yeah,
all over the place.
I was kind of surprised, but then again, the last album, they threw in a little bit more melody. This, again, they brought all the drone back. Like, it is heavy. It is overwhelming at times. Like, this album has the density of a fucking collapsed star. But when it comes down to, like, the hooks, like, they're actually memorable. And the way the songs are paced, they repeat certain hooks really well. And man, when it comes down to like a doomy breakdown, nothing hits as hard as Ritual Alliance.
The end, the last like 2-3 minutes of Ritual Alliance are just massive.
Yeah, it sounds huge.
Yep,
huge.
It's so slow and bleak and just like the oppressiveness of life in general condensed into a chord progression.
Yeah,
there it is. And I gotta talk about the atmosphere in here too, because they do like pepper in some interesting atmospheric bits. Like there's lots of feedback, which are pretty much like a warning sign that your head is about to be caved in. But there's also cool phaser effects on like the guitars and bass, especially on A Cleaved Head No Longer Plots. Again, I fucking love that title. But even on Righteous Alliance, there's a noisy break before it goes into that last breakdown. And you hear kind of like spacey sound effects. Like it kind of sounds like 1950s and 1960s like sci-fi movies. Like pew pew pew. Except, doomier. No.
Do it again.
As one pew pew, that's it.
Yeah, that's why it makes Equilibrium stand out, that song, that middle part where just that little dip. And then you know something's coming, but then it hits like, oh man. They do that a few times in this album where they give you the hints and they tell you, they lay it right out, like what we're going to do. And you know it's coming, but man, it's just stank face all over.
It's like a disclaimer to breaking your neck.
Yeah. Like warning, this riff, when the drums come in, is going to be fucking badass.
There was a bunch of feedback, and then I heard the fucking hi-hat, and then I was fucking dead.
Cannonball of death.
Ta-da!
And the beauty of this whole album is it's very minimalist. Like, it just comes down to simple riffs played with a tone that could fucking crack the earth in half. That right there, I don't know, like there's something I'll always love about that. Like these guys are legit tone chasers. They want to find just this magical tone that might make you poop halfway through the album. Like this isn't just brown notes, these are brown chords, brown riffs. You're shitting your pants.
That's why I pooped before I got here.
I pooped before I listened to this too.
Yep.
So a fart did creep out and maybe a little bit of pee, but I think I'm okay. But when it comes down to simplicity and atmosphere and everything kind of coming together, the last track, Grief Sequence, over 14 minutes of the most misery-inducing, just soundscapes. Like it's still a song. Like it takes a long build because you have 14 plus minutes of song here. But this is where they introduce organs, and oh my god, like the church organs. I mean, this is not a nice church. This is
the church you don't want to go to.
Like, it was burned down years ago with the entire congregation, and it's completely haunted, and there's pentagrams everywhere, but the organ stayed intact and still works, and they played it.
Yeah.
They just kept the cobwebs.
Yeah. Oh, the cobwebs have to stay. But this song is just so bleak, and it's entirely instrumental, which vocals in here are very sparing anyway, and you kind of get like just a traditional sort of sludge metal sort of scream.
Yeah, but they're cool when they come in.
There's a dark, clean voice behind all the screams too. It
low growls.
Yeah, it works well with each other, but the vocals are not prevalent.
No.
In much of this record.
And they sit in the back of the mix too.
Yes, they're very far back.
It's great.
It's decorative. They're like cobwebs in the
they're
church.
like cobwebs.
But this last track being entirely instrumental, man, in terms of just letting the music do the talking, it is a giant, slow build, like, God, taking every long step down to fucking hell.
You know that scene in Home Alone where Daniel Stern's on the stairs and there's tar on the stairs and he doesn't have his fucking socks on and he's barefoot and he's trying like hell to walk up the stairs and he steps on that nail and then falls backwards onto the concrete. That's kind of like this song.
That still fucks me up.
I know. Oh, I know.
Because it goes in pretty far.
It does. It's the worst thing.
And his scream was iconic at this point.
That pause as he looks down and grabs his foot, dude. I feel that. I feel that fucking moment.
Yep.
Jamie Lee Curtis was like, "That's a good scream."
It's not bad. I mean, he's not taking any work from me, but credit where credit's due. But overall. Oh, fuck, dude. This was fucking nasty. Like,
That's why I let him go first.
I knew it would be. Like, I knew this was going to be an absolutely filthy album. I had heard the singles, especially Levitation Hoax. I was like, dude, I kind of know what I'm in for here. But I think I got a lot more than what I expected. Again, hookier, a little bit more pronounced in terms of the riffs. But, I mean, all that droning fucking wonderfulness was completely intact from the early years. So I am going to give this 4 stars. Fuck. This is just gross sounding. But again, it's hookier. They took all the droning loveliness of their earlier stuff and kind of peppered in what they were trying to do on the last album, which, maybe mixed results there, but I think they got the formula right. And this is surprisingly very listenable. Like, you don't really get bored. Like, if you're a stoner doom fan, you're going to fucking love this.
Yeah.
If you're not, just stay the fuck away. I think this is possibly their best album yet. I think it's one of their most well-rounded ones. And yeah, I strongly recommend checking this out. Like, if you're a fan of like Monolord and Yob, Sleep, all those bands, check this out. It's fucking awesome.
It's a 4 for me as well. This was a very entertaining listen, especially for Doom, and the fact that there were hooky riffs and the drum work is amazing.
Yeah.
Not just the typical, hi-hat, kick, snare, slow as balls, whatever. There's a lot more peppered in here. Tons of earworms. The droning riffs that they do choose that they let go on forever are great riffs. It sounds disgusting. I showered before I came over here. Now I'm going to have to shower again before I go to dinner. It's unfair, but, whatever.
Just put hand sanitizer in your ears.
I will. No, this is a great listen. Through and through, especially the middle tracks where it really kind of picks up speed and brings some different elements to the table. Yeah, great listen. Go listen to it. If you don't, you're missing out.
I'm gonna go 4 out of 5. I was leaning 4.5 because I really do dig this, and it'll probably end up settling there over time. But it is a solid 4. And again, it fits all these elements really well together. For someone that may not even like Doom, I think this is still a good album to check out because they don't lean too heavily on one thing or the other. It's really solid through and through in terms of flow, transitions, progressions, ideas. They bookend a lot of things, which is nice. And again, Johnny King, he is a crazy good drummer. And the cymbal work, what we were saying, is a lot of times in that his patterns, especially in Doom, you get the doom, doom, ba, doom, doom. But he's doing that. He's doing the doom, doom, ba, doom, doom, ba, 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 boom, boom, ba. He's hitting those big notes on the snares and the kicks, but he's dragging his accents with the cymbals and then fitting a lot into a little space. And it makes for that really like firework kind of effect with the drums, an explosion that hits those notes, those bigger notes, much harder. So Johnny King, dude, you're fucking killing it, man.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there'll be a link down below to thrallsmetal.com, which contains a link to our Patreon. And while you're there, maybe check out the shop and check out one of our shirts. And of course, thank you all so much for liking, subscribing, all that fun stuff. It's just amazing to see this grow, and the feedback has been absolutely amazing. I know I try to think of different things to say at this thank you part of the video, but I end up saying the same shit. But
it just gets more and more awkward every time you do it.
But it means the same thing.
It does.
And you all fucking rule, and we love doing this, and you're a huge fucking part of why we love doing this. So with that, I'm gonna thank you one more time, and we will catch you later.